Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, plus 8 wins in a row. Not bad. Not bad, but still early. M317ZC44. Why does that... It was to the tune of, like, Lady Marmalade. ZC44... Okay, it does not work at all. This is touchy. It begins touchy here. Hemolacria is always situational, you know? It's certainly not bad, but it can be suboptimal depending on the situation. This seems pretty good. To be honest, I have no conceptualization of how good or bad 40 rate of fire is. So I was hoping that something like this would happen, where we would have access to a tinted rock. We got a little lucky there, which will hopefully give us a spirit heart. Please, thank you. And now we got a little bit more survivability. Is this an XL? It is an XL floor. Okay, get a little bit more survivability. I'll be the first person to own up, by the way, and say that I don't really understand how to use compost unless you're in a situation where you don't need consumables. And early on in the game, our flies are, I don't know, 1,000 times more valuable than, or sorry, let me rephrase. A penny is 1,000 times more valuable than a fly. So any consumables we don't need, I guess we could suck up like so, but, wouldn't be against the speed upgrade. I don't, as far as range upgrades go, I don't really like Mini Mush, but you know, we're gonna sort this one through. This floor is gonna determine pretty much the whole run, you know? This is like, you know, your landing spot in PUBG determining how you do in the game. In Warzone, you can always make something happen. I shouldn't really be talking about PUBG, because obviously I never really figured out how to be good at that game at all. Although I will say I do have a solo victory. I don't have a solo victory in Warzone yet. Why is that? Well, I don't know. I have like 400 hours in PUBG, embarrassingly enough. And then secondarily, I had a little bit more time when PUBG was, oh, I see you there. When PUBG was at the height of its popularity. Now, like, for all the talk about Warzone, and how much I enjoy playing it, I really do play, like, Unity, plus maybe, like, 1 to 2 hours a week. And it depends, depending on the week. Bet you are definitely in the top 3. Hello. Both of the cats are going nuts in here. I don't know, it beats me. They would... Ruka's been like, he's been trying to fit under the board game shelf, and Tomo's been chasing him around, but they're not running. They're just kind of like walking fast. I don't know what they're doing. They're feeling saucy. But it beats me. Yeah, they as soon as I woke up, they came over and were like, it's time to party. What's that quote from Hercules? It's like, oh yeah, it's all coming together. See, I've never seen Hercules, but I still know. In fact, I think Hercules may have been the first Disney animated film in my lifetime that I said, I think I'm too old for this. That was the one. And I've come back around, but it was like, you know, Little Mermaid, Lion King, Aladdin. I was there for all of those. I was completely prepared. I was in the theater. And probably I'm thinking of... Oh, you know what? No. It was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Which is funny. It probably came out when I was like 7. But I was like, I'm too old for this. I don't quite think it's good enough if we have the option. Okay, I do regret not taking it, but I don't think I regret it a ton. I think that I'm okay with where we ended up here. And we're still, like, really having pointy rib is probably... It's like the poor man's mom's knife. It's like when you're like, I want mom's knife, and your mom's like, we got mom's knife at home. But even that is still pretty good. Okay, a couple of keys, and of course the spirit heart as well. We should, I mean, realistically, depending on the deals, we could probably take 2 items from the deal with the devil here. If they're good. If they're bad, we'll just rejoice that we have a great amount of HP moving forward. And we're pretty survivable and can, quite honestly, just afford to wait until... Oh, same pill. I mean, we're definitely taking both. This is... I mean, that's insanely good. That's a very, very great start. The pill is power pill, which is also totally fine. And now that we can fly, actually... Oh my god, and our speed. Yeah, that very musical episode. It's 10:10 a.m. I'm feeling highly musical. I've been waking up a little earlier lately. So I've in case you're not familiar with the evolution, let's do that. The evolution of my sleep schedule. I'll run it by you, okay? Obviously, from ages, I don't know, 0 to 14, sleep schedule pretty much influenced / controlled 100% by my parents. You guys remember that decade where my generation called their parents the parental units? Anyway, let's not mix anecdotes here. It's a bad habit. Around 14 to, let's call it 14 to 17. I was in high school, but I could kind of choose my own bedtime. I had to wake up at 6:30, 6:45 a.m. roughly. So I usually went to bed. You know, to be honest with you, like, why did I stay up late in high school? I usually went, and this is not that late. I usually went to bed around, like, maybe 12:30. I was watching reruns of My So-Called Life on the Family Channel. It was a great show. Oh god, our rate of fire. Oh god. Oh god. Should have thought that one through. Should have thought that one through. However, you know, still a relatively stable sleep schedule, and then you make up for it, ladies and gentlemen. You make up for it on the weekends, you know? You sleep 6 hours a night on the weekdays, and then on the weekends, you sleep, maybe 9 or 10 hours. Then, in college, honestly, it was just a graph going haywire. You know, you got the combination of, like, late nights from classes, late nights from social affairs. And I'll just level with you, if you've not experienced a night of consuming too many adult beverages. Hold on, these are tiers upgrades if we walk into them. And I think, I don't know where our HP is at, but I believe we should be able to get some tiers upgrades out of this immediately. And hopefully that will be disproportionately advantageous for us. This is exactly what we wanted. Ruka, where are you going, buddy? Go ahead and hit me. That did not give me a tiers upgrade. Did you notice that? Well, in that case, we can't even take those. Okay, that's weird. But when you might disagree. I really think medically you're wrong, which I know is insulting. Oh, you know what? This was the wrong item to give us a tiers upgrade. That's fine. I'm no longer confused. It's like brittle bones that gives us the tiers upgrade if we get hit. But after a night of consuming adult beverages, you will have possibly the worst sleep of your life. Like an 8-hour sleep feels like a 4-hour sleep. A 6-hour sleep feels like you slept for 20 minutes. So there, you know, some nights I was getting 10 hours of great sleep. Some nights I was getting, you know, 6 hours of okay sleep. And some nights I was getting, you know, 4 to 8 hours of truly awful sleep. But now, like, well, I mean, really post-college, I was just kind of like a night owl. But then, maybe like 2 years ago, I started being a little bit more traditional with my bedtimes. You know, I went to bed around midnight, woke up around like 9:30. Actually, I went to bed around 1, woke up around 9:30, which is, I'll admit, a privilege, you know? 8 to 8.5 hours of fantastic sleep, feeling good. It gives me the anecdote fuel and the brain power I need to talk all day, and I was always just very pleasant. This is a scary run for a second here. But even now, I feel like I'm entering a new phase where I'm getting tired slightly earlier and waking up slightly earlier. Today, I kind of woke up around like, maybe like 8:30 and was just like, man, I don't really know what I want to do. I guess I'll just wake up. Everybody always told me that when you get older, you're gonna have more trouble sleeping. You're gonna want to wake up earlier. That's been my experience, but not in the way that you might think, It's less of like, oh, like I can't sleep, and more like, I derive more value from the waking world. And also there's a lot of stuff to get done. I hate to look at, I don't know, maybe I don't hate to look at life this way. But, I'm trying to finish work earlier, so that I can spend more time with my family. But just, I want to also do, maybe not the same amount of work, but close to the same amount of work. So how do you finish your work earlier while accomplishing the same amount when you were already pretty close to the red line before? You just, wake up earlier. And that's I value having the ability to get a good start in the morning, so I can get off at a reasonable time. Like yesterday, I was fully done, and this is like way too insular. You're like, please talk about the parental units thing. But yesterday, I was fully done work at 8, which is like pretty rare, and I'm trying to make that a habit. Videos were set, comments were replied to, emails were responded to, etc., etc. And then, I had like the opportunity. I was like, you know what? I'll cook dinner. Cooked a nice dinner that took like 40 minutes to do. Ate it. And then I was like, what the heck? It's only like, 9:15. So I, cleaned the cat's litter box and, fed the cats wet food. I mean, we didn't get up to that much. It was still like a little late. Have mercy. But, and then I was like, oh, you know what? I've worked hard today. I could watch a couple episodes of Dark, but then there were some dirty dishes in the sink. So I did the dirty dishes in the sink, and then I watched 2 episodes of Dark, and then it was like midnight, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired. Let's go to bed. It's nice. I don't say this to glorify, or really to make myself look like the victim, because again, whenever I talk about like, oh, I am busy, I work a lot, I think it's very easy to, the subtext there is like, it sucks. That has not been the subtext for me, like I directly benefit from the more I work, basically, to be quite frank with you, the more I make, right? So I always have the choice of how much to work, and I chose to work a lot. But I've started to scale it back a little bit, because I know it's going to be scaled back a lot, in the fall, when one of my coworkers all of a sudden becomes a newborn baby. Well, becomes a newborn baby is kind of a weird way to phrase that. When I get a new coworker that is a newborn baby, let's put it that way. But I kind of forgot what it was like to have like real free time on not your day off. So I'm enjoying the last few months of that before it returns, but for different reasons. But I don't know. I was talking to my parents yesterday because it was a big day for them. They had a couple of milestones simultaneously. So I was talking to my parents, and what I said to them is like, I actually kind of feel like, and maybe this is braggadocious, okay? I want to preface this by saying that when it comes to, parenthood, people ask you questions that I find very strange. They're like, are you scared? Are you concerned? I'm like, no, not really. Like, I'm apprehensive about the fact that I know it's a huge responsibility. But I'm like, the rule book of how to be a parent is already out there, right? Like, it's not like it's going to be a completely new human experience. You're going to be like, I can't sleep. What are you going to do? Nobody finds this joke funnier than me. Every time I repeat it, people just go, uh-huh, uh-huh. But I laugh inside every time. People always go, oh, you know, what are you going to do about not getting sleep? I guess I'll be friggin' tired, you know? What, do you have a better strategy? So I would say, I don't want to sound flippant, you know, when I say, like, I'm not concerned. It's not that I'm taking it lightly or casually. It's more like, you know, I mean, I think that there's a support network of people that have been through it, obviously, you know, just like a few billion, that you can rely on to figure things out. So, you know, no, I'm not concerned. You know, it's not like I don't have the same feeling in the pit of my stomach that I had when I was watching the, you know, final 45 minutes of Hereditary. But I was telling my parents that I almost feel like I'm gonna adjust better than the average person because I'm already kind of used to having very limited free time. And if instead of my free time being sucked up by, like, you know, making one more Monster Train video a day or something like that, you know, we're gonna do some burping and some diaper changing and some goo goo gagas and some, hey, can you wash those bottles, and, you know, it is what it is. I'm for it. I'm happy to have the opportunity. So let's just be honest. I am not using the cancer or compost ability the way it should be used. Let's replace that to try to get some yield. And quite frankly, if we get the cancer trinket, so here's where the Freudian slip came in there. If we get the cancer trinket, our rate of fire may improve enough that this is no longer cause for alarm. But I already think, like, the damage on the run, especially the fact that our tears rattle around thanks to rubber cement now, I think that we have enough DPS, even if we didn't get another tears upgrade, we could totally still come out with this one, you know, with the win. Pretty easily, quite frankly. But certainly I would love to have the ability to shoot my shot more often here. Okay. Oof. This is very interesting. I'm gonna not take Mom's knife, and I hope that you recognize that that is a flavor choice. I am choosing to not add ketchup on top of this delicate dish that we've got here, in the hopes of keeping it as flavorful as possible and not just taking on the flavor of ketchup. That being said, Eye of Belial is a truly fantastic upgrade to get with what we already have going on. So I really think it was still an incredible improvement. Is it as potent as Mom's knife would have been? I don't know, honestly. I mean, Mom's knife with Monstro's Lung and this terrible rate of fire might have basically just been a super high damage orbital. I can't say that for certain. So you're gonna have contentious thoughts about this one, perhaps. I am going to choose, I believe, to not take anti-grav, even though it's a tears upgrade. I almost worry that the caveat of that right now is a little bit too much. Like, you know what? I think I'm actually gonna take it. I was trying to come up with reasons not to take it, and then pretty quickly I think I just realized that it's not that the reasons are invalid. You know what I think is messed up about English, by the way? And that was an accidental pickup of the best possible variety, as we got Sackboy there. Why do we have two words, invalid and invalid, that are spelled exactly the same way, but one of them is like, that's not appropriate for this conversation, it's not relevant, and then the other one is like someone who has trouble taking care of themselves. I don't know, it's just strange. So I want to, okay, I actually think that as I pinball back and forth between conversational threads here, I think anti-grav is strictly positive, so I'm glad I took it. Our rate of fire is a little bit higher now. I guess our rate is higher, our delay is lower. And we actually don't have any negative tear effect at all. So that's a big positive for me. And, I mean, I know, look, I know I said I want to do the little things right. I want to explore every room. I think, and I'm already making the excuse here, but I hope that you'll at least listen, and whether you agree or not is up to you. Obviously, even on a run where things look great, it can go wrong. However, on this run right now, everything looks so extraordinarily good. I think we take nothing here, by the way. So extraordinarily good that the backtracking, it might not do more harm than good, but is kind of invalid. Let's tie it back. Even though that's not the word I would use in the situation, it makes a funny joke, perhaps. If you're on a run where things are tight, 100% that's room for improvement for me. We need to start exploring those situations more frequently. Because oftentimes when the run gets tight, I'm like, we can't do extra rooms because we'll get in trouble. We'll take some more hits. But I think realistically, what we should be doing instead is exploring all those rooms to try to get, 3 extra cents could allow you to buy a spirit heart. Buying that spirit heart allows you to protect the deal with the devil. The deal with the devil is a chance to give you an item that, transforms your entire run. And the whole thing comes together as a result of the being more than the sum of its parts. I probably would not use a key to open a sack at this point. But, this one's in the clear right now. Ended up, looking a little goofy, but also quite potent. There's no denying the potency of this run. Potables. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I actually, and believe you me, is diametrically opposed to how my personality was when I was 19, 20 years old. Not 1,920 years old, but you know what I mean. Last night when I was while I was cooking, I cooked for 40 minutes, and I also, cleaned up the dishes that had been around from earlier in the day, and even the previous dinner. So it was, 40 minutes of, involved work. Let's call it involved work. I think we will take this, because we're already charging, by the way. And then, after I ate dinner, I was like, well, I don't need to do the dishes. I just cooked and did, a load of dishes anyway. Then I just, 19, 20-year-old me would have had to put on the facade to do the dishes. He would rather argue for, not with my wife, but with my college roommates, would rather argue for 20 minutes about who should do the dishes instead of take 5 minutes to do them. And sometimes that's valid. If you have a roommate who never does the dishes and you're like, hey, can you do your dishes? And he's like, I refuse. You can't tell me what to do. You're being indoctrinated. You would be like, all right, dude. Maybe that's worth an argument. But now I was just genuinely, and I don't know when the switch happened. It was some gradually over the course of a few years. But I was like, I don't feel like I can fully relax until those dishes are done. Sure, I could be sitting on the couch watching Dark, maybe playing some Mahjong, but out of the corner of my eye, I'll see that there's a Tupperware in the sink, and the Tupperware had, tomato sauce in it, so it's every second that goes by is getting a little bit more caked on. I'm not at that point yet with respect to every chore. Let me put it this way. I think if I never dusted again in my entire life, it would take, sure. It would take a long time for me to notice. It would take probably more than several years for me to be like, oh, it's a little dusty in here. And then, vacuuming, I could probably go, and this is admittedly kind of embarrassing to say, but it's my truth. I bet if I didn't vacuum, and this is hypothetically, because, Kate vacuums a lot, but if hypothetically, if I lived alone, I bet I could go 2 months without vacuuming before I would be like, every time I walk around, I'm getting lots of dirt and stuff stuck to my feet. Those are ones that I don't really notice that much. But definitely, the dishes, I'm like, I would like these to be handled as soon as possible. I'm getting there. And the garbage. Oh my god, the garbage works on an even smaller time scale. Anybody else previously live in a situation where, I'm trying to think of it was garbage blackjack, everybody was trying to add one more piece to the pile without being the one who busts and is forced to take the garbage bag out and put a new one in. So it starts and you're like, you got an empty garbage bag. Oh baby, you can throw whatever you want in there. And then like it gets a little close to the top and you're like, all right, but that's fine. I can still fit it in there. I'm sure glad I'm not the next guy who's gonna have to take this thing down. Then the next guy comes in and he's like, oh crap, this one is gonna put it at its logical maximum. So what do? You shove that piece of garbage in there, and then you close the lid, and you kind of like smash it down a little bit so that it makes more space, and you go, I'm doing my part. And what does the next person do? The next person comes in and is like, oh, somebody left me with a full garbage can. I shouldn't be required to take it down. The person who did the smush should have taken it down instead of smushing it in the first place. And then, you know, you now put your whatever in the garbage, and then the lid doesn't even close properly. Like the garbage is perma open like a quarter of an inch or something like that. And then eventually someone's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. God help you if you ever get to the point where people just start leaving their garbage on the counter instead of in the trash can, because they're like, well, it should have been emptied by the person who originally filled it. It's too much. It's just too much. I feel a sneeze coming on. Anyway. Just take the garbage. Look. I forget where I heard this from, but I have one tip about, like, chore productivity. If something... And originally... Oh my god, stop walking into that. Originally, when I heard it, it was like, if something takes under 2 minutes, you're not allowed to procrastinate it. I actually think that it should be changed to if something can be done in under 5 minutes, you're not allowed to procrastinate it. 2 minutes is sure. You know, if you think about trimming your nails and they need to be trimmed, you trim them. You don't even, you know, oh, I could do it tomorrow. But I like the garbage is one of the big ones for me too. Wait, what? I don't know. Sprinkler seems kind of interesting here. I'm willing to let Sprinkler have an attempt. So, you know, if you put something in the garbage and the garbage is full, you got to take the garbage out of the bag. Well, no, let's not do that. You got to take the garbage bag out of the can. You got to take the bag out to the can that's at the end of the road or what. I don't know how you guys handle your own garbage situation there. It's different across the world, but you know what I mean. You got to take it down to the compactor. There's a couple of dishes that you just made, and all the dishes are clean. You just give them a quick little rinse and scrub, and then, you know, in 180 seconds, you got a clean kitchen again. It's the price you pay for having, you know, nice things, including dishes you can eat off that are clean, you know? You do your part. Part of the reason I'm also, like, not worried about my own... I just want to see Sprinkler shoot once. There we go. It's getting there. It's getting there. Part of the reason I'm also not concerned about, you know, the loss of my own me time when we have a child, and by the way, I might feel differently when this comes into practice, but, is because I really think I owe my parents, like, an incredible amount of, like, child debt, in the sense that I did, like, no chores and had almost no responsibilities until I was, like, 17. So really, right now, I went to an Ivy League child university, and I'm being asked to pay back some of the principal now. I can live with that. They wouldn't charge interest. That's okay. Anyway, the metaphor doesn't make sense. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.